Do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this podcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Friday, January 3rd, 2025, our first broadcast of the year. For those of you who are still watching, the show, now we're still watching the show, yes. Man, what a freaking show we had on New Year's Eve. Wow. And for posterity's sake, I did take all the chat, turn it into an HTML file so we could go through it. And boy, I even sent a copy to Mike because it's such good reading. Our audience, thank you very much. You know, it's you like what do you call it? The 12th man. We have that here in Seattle. We call it for the fans watching the Seattle Seahawks. So I think you are our 12th man for that matter. All right, on that note, let me go ahead and strike up these drums and welcome in our audience. How about that? Who the heck do we have out there? Let's go ahead. Let me just turn it down here, actually. There we go. Let's go ahead and welcome in our audience and see who the heck we have out there. Oh my gosh, before we get to it, we had a super chat pop in. Who did that come in from? Let's take a look. FreezerMan71 starting off the super chats today. All right, thank you very much, FreezerMan. $10 Canadian. And that means a lot more than it does $10 here in the United States. Why? Because of all the taxes that our poor friends up in Canada go through on a regular basis. It's a freaking tax state up there. Thank you very much, FreezerMan71. First super chat of the New Year. My goodness, how about that? On that note, let's go ahead and figure out who the heck we have up in our audience. Let me welcome them in. Let's see who's out there. We have Amiga Rules. Anne Marie is here along with April R. Coleman. Would you look at that? We've got Craig Smith and Cypher75. Destiny Rocks is here along with Dude Abides, Electronica, Eric B. We've got also Eric Groth and the Gurus. Look at that. Ian Tate, not Taint. I can't believe I got that wrong all these times. You know, it's my mind switching around characters and doing that autocorrect thing that people with ADD have superpowers for. Velasquez Greyhawk is here along with Firefly. We got Frank Einstein. Frank Rappa, Frazzle says, is here along with Frida. Good to see you, Frida. FreezerMan71, Fry Guys here along with Geraldine Doranzo. Someone, Flostradamus, just popped in and I was reading Geraldine's name. Good to see you, my friend. Golden's Dirty is here along with Gray Hair Discoveries. JB Ninja is around along with Jack Gingers. Jake, Jan, Jared Scott, J-Cat, Johnny UFO, Joseph Wilson, Justin Cariz, Kathy Kingbull, Kelly Broat, and those piercing blue eyes. Man, Kelly, some great things you said on New Year's Eve. Wow. Noodles is around. Cody's here along with iFood something. I can't get you on that one, my friend. Liliana Chun is here along with Lindsay Ellis. We've got Mr. Lit and Clicker. Who else is there? We've got Martime Unprepared along with Marcus and the Mandels. Would you look at that? We've got Megan Betts. Mick Mix is here along with Mike E. Minnow Poo's here. Good to see you. Mora HGHC. How about that? We've got Mr. Joey B. Nancy Kuzmano is in the audience along with Nathan Forrest. Would you look at that? We've got Nicholas Uric, Nikki Lilly, Niles Guy, along with Nowhere Fast. Omar's here, along with Omega Byte Entertainment. Paul DeMon is with us today, along with Peggy and her South Florida friends. That would include Crockett Tubbs and never forget Steve. Ram is here, along with Right Meow, Robert Vargas, Rough Reddy, and Sam. We got also have Sam Wallace. Sander Jute is here, along with Sir Hakan Weaver. We'll go with that one. Close enough. Sergius is around along with Sharon Rose. Sherry's here and Shinobi One Kenobi. Ruby Doo. Sprite. What the hell is that? Oh, Jesus Christ. How in the hell did a wasp get... No, is that a wasp? Oh, my God. How in the fuck did a wasp get in here? Well, we have a wasp in here. I just started going bzzz, coming around from somewhere. I have no idea how it got in here. It's up in the lights. We'll deal with it shortly. I'm going to have to kill this thing. I'm going to have to kill it. Let's see if I can kill it. Hold on. Oh, it's not. Hold on, I got it. It sounded like a wasp. As my eyes are blanked out from looking into the lights for trying to get it. It was a stink bug. A stink bug. It sounded like a wasp. What can I say? All right, where the hell was I? Mick is here. Gray Hair Discoveries is around. Oh, wrong window because my eyes are shut. Shrooby-Doo is here along with Solaris 142. Sprightly Sprites Gemstone. Crystal Mineral Magic is around along with Steve Lee. We got Sully here. Mr. Super Unknown. And Tamisha Bertrand. Good to see you, Tamisha. Tech Money is around along with Terrence Bunce. The Chromosome Cowboy. The Toxic Revenger. Two Head 666. Viper Tech. And Wilhelm Meister. Good to see everybody. Welcome to the show. On that note, sometimes, my friends, it's not just about our friends. It's not just about our friends who are in the chat. Sometimes it's about our friends who are in the back. On that note, let me go ahead and introduce our participants of today's show. Who am I talking about? Let me bring this down a little bit more. There we go. Let's see who we have in the back. Well, our first person, she's become a regular here on Disclosure tonight. Welcomed regular. Let's welcome in our dear friend Alice W. How's it going, Alice?
Hey, Thomas. Happy New Year to everyone. It's great to see everyone here, and I bet you're going to have a fantastic show tonight.
Thank you very much, my dear lady. I'm thinking so. It should be a pretty good one. Also, I want to welcome in the Brian Pemble. How's it going, Brian?
Hey, it's going good. Welcome to the 119th Congress, everybody.
Yeah, we made it. We actually made it, and Mike Johnson he made it to the speaker again. We didn't think it was going to happen, but he made it through, didn't he, Brian?
First ballot, just squeaked in by the minimum needed.
Yep, absolutely. Two people changed their votes at the last minute, didn't they?
Yeah, it was Keith Self and Ralph Norman went back to change their votes at the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in, Brian. Oh, well, let's go put our sights on the city that never sleeps all the way in Bangkok, Thailand. It's our own Corporal Abe. How's it going, Abe?
I survived that hangover. Happy New Year's, everybody. Welcome to 2025. Let's go.
Absolutely. Luckily, I did not have a hangover. It's called hydration, my friend.
I don't know how you did that one. I wasn't that lucky. I was not. I almost didn't make it to the show.
Yeah, well, you were here, I think. Appreciate you coming in again today. All right, let's set our sights on Mr. Daryl Zernick. I always just say live long and prosper. Welcome, Daryl.
Thank you, Thomas. Looking forward to this barn burner tonight.
Oh, you better believe it. Now, coming to us from the Southwest, let's welcome in Mr. Ed Brown. How's it going, Ed?
It's going good, Thomas. It's good being with you tonight, and hello to Mike and everyone in the back room here also. And I just hope that stink bug you saw a little bit ago wasn't a shape-shifting NHI that was attacking your program tonight.
You never know. All I heard is the kind of noise like wings flapping around and something flying around in here.
Yeah, that sounds like the kind of noise that you hear out of an orb or a NHI expressing itself, isn't it?
True. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Good to be here. Happy New Year, everyone.
Good to have you here as well, my friend. Thank you for coming in. Well, that's our next person is turning out to be a regular here as well, Mr. Freezerman 71. How's it going, my friend?
Going great, Thomas. Looking forward to a good conversation again tonight.
Excellent. We will try our best. Remember, our friends in the back, just raise your hand and we will try to accommodate you as quickly as we can. Our next guest is Mr. Kyle Reinhardt. How's it going, Kyle? Or not? Nope. Let's move on. Well, our next person is our remote viewing targeter, Laura Campbell. How's it going, Laura?
It's going great, Thomas. Looking forward to tonight's show. I did a lot of remote viewing yesterday, and maybe I'll share it on another night. Let's get to what the topic is tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our next friend's coming to us from the United Kingdom. He's getting ready for work. I think he's still there, maybe not. Lord McCormick, are you still with us?
I'm still here, brother. Happy New Year to everybody. Not the best start, news-wise, for anyone, but let's see where it goes.
Yes.
Let's see where it goes. Come on. Let's go, people.
If I might ask, what's on the menu today? What's the signature dish?
Well, today, actually, it's we're back to the full menu. So we're off the festive menu. So it's back to Iberico ham, sourdough, for starters, good soup of the day, and then a bit of sea bass with mussels, some good food, bit of rump of beef, red wine stew, frisée, pickled shallots. Good food, bro.
Oh gosh, you're making my mouth water as it is here, Lord McCormick. It sounds wonderful. Thank you for those wonderful menu ideas. Awesome. Our next person is, well, just Michael. How's it going, Michael? Is it that Michael?
Hi, Thomas.
Oh, Michael, good to see you, my friend. Long time no see. Thanks for joining the back today.
No problem.
All right. How about that? I'm used to seeing Attorney of the EBEs, but I'll take Michael. All right. Who else do we have in the back? A man coming from the country where all the users silent. Let's welcome in Michael Sokoloff. How's it going, Michael?
It's going good, Thomas. It looks like we're getting closer and closer to day one of the new presidency.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? We are only 17 days away, my friend. Less than 17 days, for that matter. Looking forward.
Even more interesting then than it is going to be tonight. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, well, we'll see where this goes tonight. It should be, as we were described earlier, it's a barn burner. Well, our next friend comes to us all the way from Oregon, the place you ought to be. No, not the place. Yeah, the place you ought to be. Say that for today. Let's welcome in Neil Carr. How's it going, Neil?
Hey, Thomas. How's it going? That's going good. I'm waiting for the big nothing kielbasa that they're going to give the variety of the nothing burgers that they've been serving. A little variety would be nice, or nothing.
Yeah, let's see if we can get to the end of January if this big stuff people are saying was going to happen happens, because I've always had, well, I used to be, oh my God, look, they're going to say this is going to happen then, this is going to happen then. All I can say is, don't get too excited. Don't get too sold on the idea.
I'm for sure excited.
I'm saying this to the audience now. Don't get too excited. Don't get too, locked into this. What's going to happen, because there are a lot of rumors and things of speculation. You never know where it's going to go. Right, Neil?
Balderdash.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Our next friend is coming to us from the great country of Sweden, where there's had some amazing aurora borealis the last couple nights. How's it going, Ollie?
Yes, it's going great, Thomas. And I've seen the norrsken, the northern light here in Sweden now. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. And I just want to recommend you all to the subject tonight when it comes to anti-gravity. Eyes of the Cinema, the channel on YouTube today, released a whistleblower. It was taped in the 90s, when he described as an engineer how he was working with a simulation flight system for the crash retrieved from Kingsman. And he worked with that a lot of years. He has a lot of very detailed information how they worked and what was happening.
Interesting.
There. Yeah, absolutely. I'd really recommend it for all of you. It's not that long, but it's very interesting, and it's very. It sounds like really authentic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's something that's so. Yeah, well, let's catch up on that, Ollie. Absolutely. All right. Also in the back, we have our last friend in the back almost. Let's welcome in TVT. How's it going, TVT?
Hey guys, looking forward to the show tonight. Hope everybody stays warm.
Absolutely. We will definitely try. Thank you, sir. And that brings us up to our dear friend, Miss was that it? Mike Disclosure. How the heck are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing well, and I want to wish a happy new year to everybody again. for the new year, and all of the things that we're going to be covering for this year that are going to be very interesting. I heard it referred to as barn burners. So
yeah,
there's something. Yeah, we're going to provide that for our audience. Speaking of which, I just sent you a link on DM to the full LinkedIn profile for the story we're going to cover.
Oh.
So we could go over that for the audience.
Let me go ahead and bring that up. Do I have my X profile on here? Yeah, I should. Let me go to another one. Go ahead and bring this up. Oh, God, I love Twitter. Its performance is just so great.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, it sucks.
I know.
All right. I don't have LinkedIn, so I can't see it. So if you can send me a screenshot of it, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I will do that.
Absolutely. So that takes us to the topic of the night. Thank you very much, Mike, on that, to go ahead and bring up this conversation. What are we talking about? Well, apparently the Cybertruck bomber, who has no relation to the New Orleans bomber or the person who attempted to shoot Trump, although they were all at Fort Bragg at the same time. No connection here, folks. Yeah, right. So, Cybertruck bomber, the day before, I believe it was the day before he pulled this thing off, he sent a manifesto that it made its way to Sean Ryan. It's an amazing piece. You know, it's something we have to take everything we hear with a grain of salt. It's something when you hear this, sometimes this person could be a little out of it to a degree before this is going on. Lots of PTSD, lots of stress. But either way, it's an interesting document that brings a lot of things to light. Anything you want to say on this before we bring it out, Mike or Mike?
Yeah, this is something that, if true, kind of sheds light on everything that you and I have been covering since the drone flap had started, without any answers to this day.
Right.
And if that's the case, then it is very serious on many fronts. And we've also covered a lot of those points.
Yeah.
As we go into the story,
right.
The audience should recognize that we mentioned first, and now it ties it all in.
Right.
With corroboration from this individual, if true. So, yeah, this is going to be something that I think the audience is going to find very interesting, because I know we do.
Oh gosh,
so
yeah.
We'll see.
When I heard about this, was alerted to this morning. I am in a chat conversation between myself, Alan Levine, and Michael, who's in the back. We talk about a lot of stuff on a regular basis, and I believe Michael in the back, you were the one who captured some of this stuff off of X earlier in the day.
I did, Thomas, and if you watch the podcast, which occurred on Sean Ryan today, I've watched him many times over the years. I've never heard such long pauses, deep sighs, and just overall internal angst. And at the end of the show, they mentioned that 2 man pads are missing in the United States.
What are man pads?
I actually looked that up. It's a acronym. It stands for
Surface Air Missiles
Man Portable Air Defense System. Basically, it's one of those anti-aircraft weapons.
Oh, shit.
And he was saying that the target was none other than President-elect.
Yeah, of course. Trump Force One. Air Force One at this matter.
He says, then he goes further. And he says, now they've developed invisible bombs. And they perfected it to the point where it can bypass our most sophisticated systems. And he's very concerned that those weapons can be used at any point, at any place, at any time. And he was saying that possibly stadiums. So I guess that's why they shut down the New Orleans site for the college football playoff.
Yeah.
So they could do a thorough search. And they actually moved it back a day. So it definitely gives you a pause. I know we're going to cover the other point, which is the UAP issue, UFO issue that they brought up. but this is equally distressing.
Yeah. This just gives me the vibes going through my body in a very negative manners, I have to say, as we're talking about this.
I would caution everybody not to listen to this tonight, but tomorrow. I mean, it's something that shakes you to your core.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
Sean,
We got an audience here, but this isn't just something shaking to me through the core. This is something, well, that others are shaking through my core. You know what I mean, Laura? That vibration is just kind of going through me, coming through me again, and it's not a happy one.
Yeah, I know. I thought of you when they found that big stash of bombs that guy from Virginia. I know you had a vibe about Virginia last week.
150. The largest stash of pipe bombs ever found or ever recovered by the FBI. And it was in West Virginia, like Virginia, the western part of Virginia. And that's where, what was that? Spring Cave Road? I wonder.
Oh, you did say cave, Thomas. I remember.
I know. I saw a cave, and then I had seen something like a river. Then I had seen like something with a cave, and then when I went to West Virginia and I picked up my pin and I dropped it down randomly in the area of Western Virginia, it came up on a road called Spring Cave Road, which aligned to both things that I had seen.
Correct. So it's nice to have some corroboration after the fact.
Yeah, but this ain't good corroborations, though, Mike.
Oh, hell no.
It's a corroboration, but it's yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Laura, remember when you were shaking the other day?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You just have to smile and just go with it. But yeah, interesting times to say the least. So, was there any? All right, so out of the person who was the bomber in Vegas, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike or Michael, he was a Green Beret, an active Green Beret who was like stationed in Europe, who was back in the United States on vacation.
Active Green Beret. He also held TSSCI clearances, and he was also a specialist on drones for the military and in Afghanistan during wartime. So this is very interesting rabbit hole that we're going down.
Wasn't there another person we were talking about last week who also was a UAS specialist? There was somebody else last week we brought this up.
Yeah, I remember. I remember when we brought this up,
yeah.
But I don't recall.
Not the same thing, but we're hearing two things in a matter of a week where you're having a person who's a specialist in drones lifting their way up through the news.
Yeah, I recall that, but with so many stories that we've been covering pretty
Yeah,
regularly.
I know. Oh, yeah.
It's right on the tip of my tongue. Yeah. And I also updated that screenshot for you.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Let me go ahead and see if I can go ahead and find this. Let me go ahead and bring that up. All right. Let's go ahead and bring up this document here. Oh, there we go. So his name is Matt Littlesberger.
Correct.
An operations director, intelligence manager, remote autonomous systems, which are basically UAS. He was an SUAS and special forces in the Green Beret. Oh, look at this. Correct. He's from the greater Colorado Springs area, and that's where Space Force headquarters is, isn't it, Mike?
Oh, it absolutely is, Thomas. That's a coincidence. I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's funny how it's tied into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So drone specialist. So I guess you would also consider him to be a subject matter expert.
Right. Well, apparently not in explosives. Maybe it was more of just to blow himself up than it was, but he blew his head out before the bomb went off, apparently.
Yeah. I don't know. It could have been just a huge FUBAR incident.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I have to agree on that one. All right, so getting into this, I've got a story here on X. This is coming to us from UAP James over on Twitter, as you can go ahead and see it. Breaking cyber trial. So we've got a clip here from Sean Ryan, who's going to take a decent pause here. And then he's going to go ahead and we're going to hear his guest go ahead and talk through the manifesto. I'm going to throw up the
actual manifesto as we're playing the video.
Well, I can throw up the manifesto if we want, or we can just go ahead and play it. I guess I'll do that. So we'll have the audio going on. Let me go ahead and I'll pause it when it gets to that point. Here we go, folks. And yes, I have a Google Doc that I've put together with the manifesto. Hey, chat, is the text big enough that everybody can read this now? Let me go to view. Where's it at? Not 200% fit again. That's about as good as it's going to get. There we go.
It's perfect on YouTube.
Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and play this, everybody. Let me actually get back to here. Not there. Let me get to here. Let's play this, and we'll see where it goes.
Do you want to read the email?
Yep. So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the U.S. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN...
Let me pause that really quick here. That's... Actually, I just lose that.
42 a.m. 42. In case I do not make the Mexico border, I am...
Okay, let me pause this.
In case I do not make...
Mike, that is a big one. What he's saying right then and there, saying that the drones are operational. We have gravitic drones. I would have to think this is anti-gravitic for that matter.
Correct. That's absolutely right.
All right.
And it's a breakthrough in technology on a scale unheard of before.
Yeah. All right. Let me go ahead and bring this up. We'll continue on it. All right. So I just have to flip back to here.
Make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border. I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private. Sorry about that. I screwed up a little bit. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the U.S. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operations Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed.
Really quick, I want to bring this up. We've got a clip on Lou Elizondo on this, and this is exactly what he's saying, Mike. Lou calls out Kirby for being a liar to the American people. He has no happy, nice words from Mr. Kirby.
No, and we know how he feels about members of the military.
Oh, gosh, yes, absolutely. But he has had really strong words for the failed withdrawal of Afghanistan and many other things. It'll be interesting. It almost seems like Lou is priming himself for the position in the executive branch.
Hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
That would be good news.
Fingers crossed, my friends. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Here we go.
Basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast. I've been followed for over a week now from likely Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't.
Let me pause that for a second. What the hell was I going to go on that? All right, we'll continue. Here we go.
Because they know I am armed and I have a massive V-bid. Let me pause right there for a second. So he says a massive V-bid. When I was talking to the FBI yesterday, they didn't know what a V-bid was. I had to explain what that acronym meant, literally.
You fucking serious?
Dead serious. I said it twice, and he goes, you said that word V-bid. Can you tell me what that is? For your audience, a V-bid, for your audience who has not been in the GWOT for the last 20 years, a V-bid is a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device. In layman's terms, a car bomb, what we saw at Trump Tower. So, backing up, he says, I am armed and have a massive V-bid. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. Here's where he gets into the other stuff.
So I have to say this, Mike. He's saying Homeland Security and FBI was aware of him, right?
Right. And we're tracking him digitally.
And they didn't do shit, did they?
No.
What was their answer?
We ain't found shit.
Was it that? That's why they didn't stop him?
Correct. That's what's been
They
going
want to
on
let the
with them
person
the whole
go
time.
off rather than stopping them ahead of time. They want to let them to go ahead and do their thing?
Well, obviously, either that or they assassinated him.
Yeah.
And detonated the car bomb.
Yeah. Well, this is the guy. People are saying this is a paranoid Q follower. This is BS. Whether we like it or not, this appears to have come specifically from the guy who blew himself up in front of Trump Tower in Vegas.
Unless they assassinated him and detonated the improvised car bomb to cover it up.
Yeah. But if that was the case and the vehicle was driven and he had his hands tied to the steering wheel potentially and he was dead getting there and it was brought there under full FSD because the vehicle he did rent did have full self-driving control into it, the only one who would truly know if the person was alive when they got there is Elon Musk, right?
You're correct. Plus, they could do that remotely. They could access that vehicle system remotely, digitally.
Depends on and it depends really if the computer within the system survived or not. Time will tell. We're going to have to wait 16 and a half more days to get there, right, Mike?
Exactly, Thomas.
Yeah.
You're 100% right on that.
All right, let's continue.
This is highly suspicious, all of it, the whole story.
Yeah, well, let me continue on with this audio. Here we go.
And this is where we had to redact the names. Well, your producer redacted the names. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that were covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes of over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of civcas, that's civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. U.S. FORA continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover-up with U.S. FORA, an agent, redacted, of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I worked with, redacted, IO staff on this as well as the response to Bala Murghab.
Hold on a second.
Redacted commander at the time, redacted.
Hold on a second. Although it said redacted, it actually came out. I worked with General Miller's staff.
Correct.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah. All right.
It came out. It leaked out accidentally against the FBI's wishes.
Well, it's on the document that I copied and pasted into Google Docs.
Well, there you go. So we got it.
We got it. All right. Apparently, well, let's continue on with this.
Can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation.
Now, Mike, this going out there, this goes into one of the possibilities of the drones that it was possibly being set up by U.S. government to go ahead and go ahead and blame it on China, but it sounds like it could be China for real this time.
But if you remember early on, we broke the story that due to our contacts within the intelligence community, that it wasn't coming out. It wasn't coming out publicly as far as China's involvement. But we broke that story that China was involved with those drones and that activity early on in New Jersey.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Specifically, right, over the Joint Base Fort Dix and McGuire Air Force Base. And it spread over to the Earl Naval Weapons Station in North Jersey.
Yeah.
So if it's China, like we first called it out as, they would have a foreign adversary that was specifically focusing on our military restricted airspace installations.
Right.
Which is definitely a national security threat. Now, if you remember when Admiral Kirby had been addressing this publicly, claimed there was no national security threat. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Oh, correct.
Obviously,
Yeah, and we've got a quote from Lou Elizondo we're going to be showing shortly, where he goes and calls that out and calls out Kirby for lying to the American people.
Right, but you and I pointed that out to the public when that occurred about how this was absolutely a national security threat, and especially if it's a foreign adversary that's conducting these operations with these drones, how could it not be?
Yeah.
So so we were on there at the beginning, making the same points that he's seemingly corroborating right now with this statement.
It seems to be that way. On that note, we have a couple people in the back with their hands up. Let me play the rest of the video. The rest of the audio, and then we'll call on people in the back. This is just him going and clarifying who the heck he is.
And he says, for vetting, my LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Matthew Livelsberger, an active duty 18 Zulu out of 110. That's 1st Battalion 10th Special Forces Group. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with UAP, USAP access.
So that's UAP.
The email?
Yep.
So that is UAP, but it's special access programs, right, Mike?
It's unacknowledged.
Unacknowledged special access program access.
Yes, sir. Which is as high up in the food chain as you can get with access if you had information like this or were working in programs like this. That's what you would need.
Yeah.
And it seems like he had it. And there's other people that have come out since this occurred that have all said they knew him, worked with him, and he was a good guy. They didn't say he had PTSD. They didn't say he was erratic. He was in Special Forces active duty, so they would be looking specifically if there was some mental issues that were going on at the time. They didn't find any.
No.
Right. Nothing in his jacket indicates that that was in fact the case. So it means, regardless of how this incident had turned out, a lot of his credentials are valid and credible. And the claims he's making are very interesting to the information that we were already reporting on.
Well, it's greatly concerning of the things that he's bringing up and what he's saying and where it's led us to today.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Because he also indicated that obviously China, if they're using this technology over the East Coast and targeting our reservoirs, which we reported on, and our military installations.
Right.
Matt Livelsberger had said that potentially they're going to be targeting an attack against us in the United States with this new technology. That is, number one, we've talked about this when we were covering the drones. We said at the time, if there was any type of corroboration, and the reason we brought this up is because our audience was asking us questions at the time. If the government knows about this, because President-elect Donald Trump had stated the government absolutely knows where these drones are coming from and who's behind them.
Correct, yes.
You and I addressed the questions the audience asked us by saying, well, if they know that it is being done by a foreign adversary like China, and that was admitted publicly, their hand would be forced because that is absolutely an act of war. And they didn't want to, with the current administration going out and with the administration being in turmoil as it has been, they didn't want to engage against China by calling it out publicly. So they covered it up.
Yeah.
And they wanted to avoid World War III. But now Matt Livelsberger is saying that's exactly what it is. If his information is correct and what he's saying is true, and with the information we heard that corroborates this, if that's true, it absolutely is an act of war, and that would find us in a big major conflict against China, which isn't good.
Oh gosh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now we do have a bunch of people, viewers in the back with their hands up. Daryl Zernick, go ahead.
Hey, Thomas, I just wanted to point out that this has gotten the attention of members of Congress, one saying this changes everything, quote unquote. So this isn't just us going down a rabbit hole. This is already up the food chain.
Interesting. Thanks for that. Thanks for that insight. Granted, everyone in Congress is, well, they've been out there voting for who they were going to vote for. We had the Senate signed in by Kamala Harris, and then we had the vote going on for what do you call it? The vote going on for the Speaker of the House of Representatives,
Mike Johnson.
Exactly. Now, if we could, Ed Brown, you have your hand up next, my friend.
Yes, Thomas. I think, first of all, Michael did an excellent job of summing this up, and I agree with everything he's saying. One point I brought up before the show started that I would like to say as an alternative explanation. What if this guy didn't kill himself, but he was killed? I mean, I think that's something we need to take into consideration.
Right. Because they did find his body with a gunshot wound to the head. They didn't say that a gun was found.
Well, that's correct. And also, it said that he was shot in the head and then set off the explosive. Well, was it a time for him to have done that? He would have had to have had a time delay that he set off first, and then shot himself.
Yeah.
I think it really points to he was probably taken out, and maybe his intent was to use that like an insurance policy. You know, I'm here. Yeah. If you get near me, I'll blow myself up or whatever.
Well, don't forget the guy who was down in Louisiana. He also had IEDs along with him as well.
Yeah, he did. So I think that's a possibility. Now, back to this thing about little D's and big D's we keep talking about.
Little disclosure, big disclosure, right?
Yeah, and if this is all true, and if his manifesto is validated as being accurately what he said, then I think he has taken us a long way toward disclosure. Because now the Congress, as Mike pointed out, is going to start asking those questions of what does the FBI and the CIA know about this? And why is John Kirby getting on television saying there's nothing to worry about if it's as serious as they could destroy us and take over our country? I'd say that's something we maybe ought to consider worrying about a little bit.
I would have to agree on that because it just ties too many things together. And it's good that our lawmakers in D.C. have their eyes on this. Hopefully they can keep them attention long enough before the money from the deep state flows in.
Yeah. So those are reasons that this is probably going to be one of the big breaking news stories of the year.
Yes.
And we're only in the third day of the first month of this year.
Yes.
And as Coltart pointed out, there's a lot going on. I've got some inside sources with some psychics that are just going crazy right now. So that's why I'm kind of hoping Laura will later on raise her hand and give us some answers from the psychic perspective.
Well, I already told you as I'm hearing this stuff, I'm getting the vibrations that come through a psychic connection, and they're not good right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Ed. I appreciate that. Let's go. Since his name was mentioned, Michael, you're at the bottom of the list, but you're now at the top. Go ahead, Michael.
Thanks, Thomas. Thomas, I just sent you the transcript from Donald Trump. I'd just like to point something out. Mike is absolutely correct. Trump starts off saying the government knows what is happening. But here's what gives me pause. Because he is getting briefings, but is he getting full briefings at this time? Because the second paragraph, it says, I can't imagine it's the enemy, comma.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so let's go ahead and read this. This is the text from Donald Trump. It's coming from, was it Truth Social? Thank you. Yes, I did hear of all of this as well as the full Las Vegas sheriff briefing, whom claim that they have, wait, no, that's not you. That's the one from Alan. I don't see one from you. There we go. Here we go. Donald Trump on government knowledge. Okay, let's go ahead and bring this one up. Let me bring it up and let me get this here. And TVT and everyone in the back, please keep yourself muted until we get you there. Michael, are you still with us?
I am, Thomas.
All right, let's go ahead and bring this up here. All right, so this is coming from Donald Trump. Let me make this a little bit smaller so we can all read it at the same time. Donald Trump, the government, almost there. The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off. If it's a garage, is this the one from he took a set a while ago?
Yes, and I think it's relevant, though.
Right. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from, where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying that it's our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people. And they should, because the people are really, they happen to be over Bedminster. They're very close to Bedminster. I think I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I decided to cancel my trip. Michael?
So it's that second paragraph that gives me pause, because if you're listening to this latest whistleblower that blew himself up in the face, he's claiming that, in fact, it's China. But Trump is clearly saying, I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they blast it out. So you have a dichotomy there, right?
Yeah. So this quote, people are saying it's old. This quote is what, about a week and a half old at most?
Yes.
Yeah. But you're just trying to bring context to it, saying what our future president is saying about it. But one of the things you brought up is the word blast, which he said it twice. Now, and why is that concerning to you? Because I know Trump is very specific about the words he chooses. Want to tell us why?
I think that the fact that the president chooses his words very carefully, and it's two meanings, I think. One, I don't think he chose the word blast just out of left field. I think it's meant for a purpose. And a lot of people have suspected for a long time that these drones were ours, and they were searching for some potential radiological, whatever, that might be planted out there, and they're trying to find it, correct? So that's one potentiality. So the other one was it could be biological and so forth and so on. But the other thing that I thought that was very concerning at the time when he held that press conference was he was scheduled to go to Bedminster. And for whatever reason, was it related to the drones? He didn't come quite, out and say that. But he says, hey, look, they're very close to Bedminster. I'm not going there for the weekend. I'm canceling my trip. So everything that he's been briefed on led him to believe that maybe things are a little tedious at the moment, and, I shouldn't go there. So he canceled his trip. So I think, when you read that in the whole, I think you have to say to yourself, why did he take the steps that he did? And the fact that he mentioned blasts seemed to get back to the radiological rather than the biological aspect of it.
I believe you.
I think when you combine the two paragraphs, it gives you pause. The only thing I'm saying is that when you look at the transcript and you compare it against the manifesto is claiming it's China, and he's saying, I can't imagine it's the enemy. Because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out, which makes sense to me.
Right.
So you have a dichotomy there, and I think it's worthwhile noting that. Thank you.
Interesting point, but I could add to that with whatever version of these drones over the East Coast, specifically New Jersey, when it has occurred over since November 18th of last year, they tried, when these were over military bases, to use the anti-drone technology to bring them down. It didn't work. They couldn't detect the heat source of these drones. They weren't able to track these drones. They went dark. So maybe we're not able to take them down like Donald Trump believes we might be able to. There might have been improvements since he was in office that he may not be aware of.
Now, HGHC has been really quick saying in the chat a bunch that the gun was found on the floor of the car. Interesting.
Yeah, it's beginning to sound a lot like somebody who committed suicide by shooting themselves in the back of the head 10 times.
Yep.
Very strange.
Yep. Absolutely. TVT, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, I've kind of got some inside source information here. I have the guy that drove the Tesla on video and audio, which I'm not going to play the audio, but I have him putting a gun in his car and several moments before the explosion partook on video here, and I'm going to just show it.
Don't play it because it's not going to show up. I'm not set up to show video from people in the back.
Oh, okay.
You would have to send the clip over directly to Thomas, and we'd be able to then put it on the show.
Can I give you my source after the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll do that. But I have him in front of a Tesla charger. He's wearing a yellow shirt.
I mean, are these pictures on the internet at this point or in your personal email stuff?
This is kind of breaking right now. Because the Tesla has like all kinds of cameras.
Yeah, cameras
all over
inside, outside, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I have that footage.
So if you can email that video file that you're talking about.
I can't because it's coming off of a source. So I mean I can send you the link. I can do that.
Email it to Thomas.
Or you can put the link in the back chat.
Yep. Either one.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that from my phone, but I'll give it a shot, or either that or I'll just tell you after the show.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, thanks.
It gives more detail to, what you guys were talking about. Did he have a gun, and was he by himself? And, did the computer work? Obviously it did, because I'm looking at the information that the Tesla recorded.
Yeah. They should be able to have recording inside the cabin of the Tesla up to the point that the explosion happened. Just saying.
Yeah, I've got it prior.
Yeah.
Do you have a Twitter account, TVT?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure a way for you to get that link to us.
I mean, he could try and present it. Well, I have no guarantee how it's going to go, but give it a try, TBT.
Hey, Mike and Thomas, I'll put my phone number in the back chat here. You can send it to me, and then I'll send it to you. How's that?
Here you go, Thomas. I'll just show it right here so you can see it.
Let's see if this works. I don't know let's see how it goes. Give it a try.
This could be a risk.
Hit share screen.
Well,
share screen.
What do you mean?
And play the video.
Yeah, I'm not going to show. I'm not going to play volume. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
It's pulling up right now.
Dun 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 dun.
All right, I got it going. I'm just waiting for the right moment to show you guys.
Well, Thomas is going to put the breaking news alert up, and then we'll play the video.
There we go. As far as
there he is, right there in front of the Tesla.
Hold on. Wait. Back it up. Okay, so there he is in front of the Tesla.
Yeah, you see, he's wiping the back of the Tesla out. He's got his light on his head. He had a yellow shirt on earlier. Now it looks like he's got a sweater. And then you can see him grab a gun right there. And then
he's at a supercharger. Yeah.
Just kind of see him put the gun kind of in the bag there, and then open up the door and get in the Tesla. There he is, kind of walking around. Hey, another footage of him there. So I'm not going to reveal my source, but that's what I got. So,
interesting.
I don't know if that helps shed some light on the situation, but
well, it gives us an idea of what's going on. I appreciate you sharing that, TBT.
All right, you're welcome.
Crime, you have your hand up next.
Junior. So to try to get attention.
Kron, are you there? You're muted.
We have a lot of hands up.
Let's move on to Daryl. There he goes. While I'm seeing there. Go ahead, Kron. Are you there? Nope, he put his hand down. He's back at the bottom of the list. Daryl Zernick, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to tell you that the investigation did report that they found the gun, but to add more color to it, they said the gun was a Desert Eagle 50 caliber. So that's it's pretty strong power there for
What's a Desert Eagle 50 caliber? Is that a rifle?
No, it's a handgun, 50 caliber.
It's a handgun.
Okay.
Yep. So that's a man stopper.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Laura Campbell, you have your hand up next. Thank you, Daryl. Appreciate that.
Yes, I'm bringing this up because it did have a little connection with the drones. I did look at, now this is remote viewing, so I have to say, this is my opinion for those who don't come for me. My remote viewer looked at John Radcliffe, and the question was, will he bring disclosure forward? And here's what we got. He's a loose cannon. In terms of disclosure, expect him to let things slip. Loose with the tongue. He is not really allowed to say certain things, but if it gets said, you can't put it back. He has an ego, will butt heads. There are higher ups who will try to silence him. There will be a determining fork in the road coming up related to his career. He needs to fly right or we'll be out of here. It will happen after he says something about disclosure. He potentially would be fired by the powers that be. There are plenty above him. They are part of the same nameless group involved with the drones over New Jersey, linked to the Pentagon.
Interesting.
So that's what we got.
So
Yeah.
remote viewing tying this back to the Pentagon in one way or the other. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. Yep.
Two Lauras in the back. Let's go ahead and bring up Ed Brown. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, I want to back us up to something we did a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the drones over New Jersey and why they couldn't bring them down. This would answer the question. If they were anti-gravitic, then that equipment would probably have no ability to take those drones down. And that's probably why, and assuming that connects together, that's probably why the government had to be so quiet about it. Because at the time, they didn't want to admit that anybody had anti-gravitic capability. When we were talking about could they be NHI, and you and I talked about this, well, the whole group, and we concluded they probably weren't NHI, but they're NHI-like in that capability is something that 99.9% of Americans don't have any clue that we have.
Yeah.
You or the Chinese have.
Yeah. Exactly. Good points. And, it's something time will tell on all these things, Ed, and I appreciate your expertise. Just coming in from Jody on the chat really quick. Sean Ryan and his family going into hiding for a few days. He just posted on his X account, actually. He posted that this morning. He said him and his family are going to disappear for the next couple days. Disappearing is not exactly quite going into hiding, but it's about the same. We'll find out, because a lot of times they're saying, well, we're going to disappear for a few days on vacation, guys. We'll be back. On that note, Scotty, you have your hand up, my friend?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, this is just conjecture, but I think the man-pad or anti-aircraft missiles are in this country to take down America's looking glass planes. So not necessarily the president's planes, but our looking glass planes. That's all I got to say.
Okay. I appreciate the insight, Scotty. Thank you. Also in the back with their hands up, we've got next, let me bring it up here. Michael, go ahead, Michael.
Thomas, I just want to say that, in fact, the FBI now is saying they have strong evidence that the email shared on the Sean Ryan show was sent by Livelsberger before the explosion. So to anyone that's doubting the authenticity of that email, the FBI now is coming out and saying it is authentic.
Wow. If anything ever qualified for a breaking UFOs alert, that would definitely be it, Mike. That is a definite go to my friend.
I sent it to you. Thanks.
All right. Let me go ahead and get that there. Was that to you and Alan, or just you?
I think I sent it directly to you.
No, I don't see that one.
Oh, shoot. Okay, I'll send it again. Thanks.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's go on. Kron, you have your hand up, my friend. Try it again.
Yes. Can you hear me now, Thomas?
We got you, Kron. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out one thing. I find the symbolism very interesting that he chose. I really feel like he was at the end of his rope and he sent a message. Who did he send it to? Well, he was in a Cybertruck. He was calling on Elon Musk. He blew it up in front of the Trump Hotel. He was calling on Trump. He wanted to send a message to Elon and Trump, and he did. Now, what that message is, we don't know yet fully. But I believe if you connect the dots, that's who he was sending the message to.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, good point. Because it was in front of crazy. It was in front of the Trump Hotel. It was with a Cybertruck. And you know, yeah. If they want to get their point across, boy, it was made. But
who are the best buddies right now? Trump and Elon.
Yeah. But this guy was potentially tied with the bomber who came out of Houston that blew up shit on Bourbon Street. And then you had the person who was going and who was to potentially try to assassinate Trump. But it all gets tied back to this cell or organization, whatever it is, coming back to Fort Bragg, which is still something is in denial. But if you connect the dots, there's something going on there.
It's called MK Ultra, you know. We know that. But now, here's another point, Thomas, which I find very interesting, is when the happening happened in New Orleans, there were reports that there were other people. And then now they said, no, there's no other people.
Well, they had said that there was another man and another woman who was involved in placing the pipe bombs around the area.
Correct. And now they redacted that. Why do you think that is?
Cover up. Let's talk about the J6 bombers that we had in DC that's still been covered up. Let's be honest.
Yes. Yeah. There was a car. They parked it. There was pipe bombs, and then all of a sudden, nothing. Anytime that there's mention of other people, I notice it's been a trend. It gets redacted. It happened a while ago with some other incidents. I won't go all into it, but your connection of the dots going from Fort Bragg to Cybertruck, Elon, and they both use trucks. They both use the same rental app. So if they were getting commands and instructions, it's very interesting.
And they both had EVs. One was a Ford Lightning. The other one was a Tesla.
Correct. American.
Yeah. Interesting. Thanks for that insight, Kron. Thank you very much. Also, let's go ahead and see who's next in here. Laura, we've got 3 of you in the back chat right now. Did you just rejoin again?
Yeah, I'm having computer issues on this end all of a sudden. So it's me. It's just it froze.
Okay, not a problem. Thank you, Microsoft.
Yep.
All right, we cleared it up. I'll say Thomas Fisher. Go ahead. Your hand is up. Welcome to the back. You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm new here, and I've been joining your channel for a month now. This is my first time talking, and I would like to hear what's going on. So you guys are talking about the Elon Musk Cybertruck and all that, or you guys into the UFOs and drones? What do you guys, or any of it?
Well, we've been covering the stuff going on with the drones on the East Coast that are tied back to the bombing that happened in Las Vegas on the 1st.
For sure. So I've been hearing that it started with the radioactive elements and all that, and now I'm hearing that the drones are coming from China. What are your thoughts? Do you agree that they're coming from China now, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my overall thought has been a lot of these are coming from the United States. Now we've got someone from an email who's been verified it was true. Time will tell. What we were hearing from President Trump-elect, that it sounds like it's ours. I think our government isn't going to tell us shit for another 17 days. Maybe after that, we may be able to get some truth out of it.
Okay. I just think it's important to not leave out China within this, because I know that they're going to take over Taiwan and they want to know what's going on in our country. So I think it's important to keep them both open, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. They are on the bingo card, my friend. They are absolutely multiple squares for China on the bingo card. Thank you, Thomas.
Yep.
Absolutely. Brian Pemble, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, hey, Thomas, I don't know if you have a second for this one. Matthew Livensberger, the gentleman that blew up the Cybertruck, supposedly, was on an Inside Edition Green Beret reality show with a partner named Tim Kennedy. And there's a video of it. I know you probably can't play Inside Edition on the show for copyright reasons. So what's interesting is that was done a while ago. Tim Kennedy, if you do your research, was also on the Sean Ryan show of March of this year. What's also interesting is that Tim Kennedy on January 1st, so the other day, said, does anybody know who this Matthew Livensberger is? So obviously he did. Now, he went under the name Matt Berg in that Green Beret competition.
No.
And it's all on the video. But so Tim Kennedy was also on the Sean Ryan show. He also claims that he didn't know this guy and is looking for information on him. And so here we are. So I don't know what to make of it, but it's definitely an interesting twist. Because if you watch the Inside Edition thing, and if everybody's okay, I can post a link to it in the YouTube chat. But it throws a little monkey wrench and everything.
Yeah, it almost seems like
Brian, he brings that up in the video.
It seems like it's the connections, like how many people are connected to Kevin Bacon. Just saying.
Yeah, it was just thought that they happen to be partners in this old Inside Edition Green Beret thing, and they also both happen to go on the Sean Ryan show. I mean, I know it's a small community when you get that high in the upper echelon of the military, but still,
yes,
it certainly is interesting.
Yeah, crazy times to say the least. Freezerman 71, you have your hand up.
Thanks, Thomas. I watched the interview with Sean and Sam Shoemaker or whatever, and one of the points that they made was that this fellow was a Green Beret. They thought that he chose the Tesla truck because it was bulletproof. He didn't want a mass casualty event with what was in the back of that truck. If he wanted to cause damage, he could have. He chose not to, and their theory was that he was trying to get attention without killing people.
Gotcha. It makes sense. It makes sense. So he wanted to minimize the collateral damage, but do enough to make sure everyone's going to pay attention to this.
That's right.
Mike?
I suggest you guys watch that. And they had a theory about what happened to him, but I don't want to talk about it. You guys should just see the video for yourself. I'm not sure it's true or not.
Are they claiming that he was assassinated?
They're claiming he's still alive.
That's a very bold claim. I don't believe it's true.
It sounded a little wacko to me.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting times, to say the least, Mike. This has definitely got the attention. And honestly, when I saw this stuff going on, it's like, we need to go live and cover this stuff. But we were just taking a break after a long trench going through covering what's been going on with the drones.
Exactly. But hey, we're starting off the new year with a bang, and we're starting off this story with a bang.
Yeah.
That ties into what we've been covering. So, yeah. We're back in it, and this is very interesting, to say the least.
Just a quick reminder to our audience, if you're watching this show for the first time, do us a favor, give us a subscribe. But if you've been around, or for anybody who's watching the show, do us a favor. We have 1,123 people watching the show right now with only 269 likes. So if you're having a good time here at Disclosure tonight, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up. And if not, give us a thumbs down. And as always, we like to see your comments below. We'd love to hear from you, my friend. Right, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. Please. Like and subscribe.
My ham is just getting out of the oven. What are you eating, Mike?
Oreo cookies.
Oh, there you go.
during the live broadcast.
Oh, there you go. Nothing like getting double stuffed.
It is double stuffed. You hit the nail on the head.
Oh, and as I say that, my connection to YouTube died for a second. Let me bring it back up. There we go. All right, Daryl Zernick, your hand is up again, my friend.
Yep, Brian, just wanted to quickly say that they bring that up in this video, that they were on a shooting competition together. They even show a picture of it. Just want to throw that out there.
Oh, thank you, Daryl. I guess I didn't see that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. On that note, since we're on all things drones, we've been talking about the situation of what's been going on. We've got a comment here from Lou Elizondo, who appeared on the Change Agents podcast, going ahead and talking some very strong words about John Kirby and how he is deliberately misinforming the public on drones. Let me go ahead and get this clip up here, and let's go ahead and take it to the next level. Where's that at? Video full. All right, bring it up a little bit. That's good enough. Turn off the chat. Here we go.
When you have people like, former Admiral John Kirby, who's somebody, as a military guy, I always give my vets a break because I love my vets. I that's where my brotherhood lies and my loyalty. But when you have someone like that who's saying things that are, in some cases, maybe even deliberately misinforming the public, I think that's problematic, because that is a spokesperson for the National Security Council, the Department of Defense, and some of these, big organizations. And when they can't even have a consistent message of what's going on, in one breath they turn around and say, "Oh, there's no threat here." Well, wait a minute. What defines a threat? A national security threat's a very simple calculus. It's capabilities versus intent. We can see some of the capabilities. We have no idea the intent. So it's asinine to assume or presume that these things aren't a threat, especially when they're flying unchallenged over controlled U.S. airspace, over sensitive military installations, and our nuclear equities. When you have people...
Well, there you go. Lou telling us straight up, if you want to see the full podcast, check out Change Agents on YouTube. Mike, your thoughts? I mean, Lou is just telling it how it is. It's great to see Lou commenting more on the drone situation we've been dealing with. There's been a lot of cover-up coming from the White House, and it sounds like, honestly, that Lou Elizondo is
calling them out.
Calling it out, exactly.
Because he supports the military, being a former member of, and for him to call out another former member of the military publicly is something that you and I know very well, and personally from Lou, he does not do that. Especially
well, not publicly. Just that. Unlike us, our New Year's podcast, Lou Elizondo doesn't say anything negative about anybody ever.
True. Not publicly.
Yeah.
Right. So, no, for him to come forward and make a statement like that, it's a lot more powerful of a statement than you would initially believe at hearing it at face value.
Yeah.
Coming from Lou. It means a lot. And he's right. Kirby telling the American public there is no national security threat or threat to public safety when we covered that it had been diverted an emergency medical transport helicopter because of the drones. That's definitely a national, that's a security threat to the public as well. Kirby lied through his teeth about all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that we covered.
Well, so did the frickin' White House, and so did the president, according to our new president. And you know what? All of the different, now they've expanded the number of drone no-fly zones over the eastern seaboard in New Jersey and New York area. And but they all expire on the 19th, the day before Trump comes into office. And you have to wonder, is it a coincidence, Mike, or is it they know their game is up at that point in time?
No, it's also, I believe, that they're trying to dump it in the lap of the incoming administration and not have to deal with it themselves.
Now, talking about the situation of the drones on the East Coast, for a while, we had a bunch of readings that were showing up on a radiation map. Remember that, Mike?
I do. We had a few maps that were up.
Oh, yeah. Now, talking with Michael earlier today, and going ahead and diving into the forms of what was going on, it appears that a lot of those high readings were coming in from people manually entering the data into the system, and any of those locations that had the really high levels of radiation were all entered manually and only have the history of one entry for that location. So the point where we saw ratings of 1,000 or 9,000, 901, 90210, et cetera, really high levels, those weren't established locations, and it turned out people were spamming into the system. And it seems like, well, it was either general people who found a way to go ahead and scare people, or it almost sounds like something that our CIA would do to go ahead and spread fear.
Spread fear, or possibly distract the activity that was going on that they wanted to cover.
Right. Now, you were mentioning in our call earlier today that there's been new orders issued in New York that on all the bridges of traffic, or bridges or tunnels coming into New York City, that they're stopping every single truck and they're literally searching them for some kind of explosive ordinances, correct?
Well, they're not alerting the public. They're not making a public statement about it. But there is an ongoing operation by the NYPD that is monitoring all incoming traffic of trucks and panel vans coming over the major crossings. They are stopping trucks at random, because if they attempted to stop any and every truck that had crossed over the crossings, the traffic jam would be going on all day, and they can't do that. But they are looking for something. It's obvious. There's got to be some sort of a terrorist threat that they are aware of, and they do not want to alarm the public with. And that's been going on all day today here in New York City.
Which ties into another couple of our bingo card squares that we have for drone bingo, that potentially these drones could be out there looking for some kind of WMD, a mass destruction device, whether it's nuclear or whatever it could potentially be, to go ahead and cause a mass casualty event.
Potentially, but whatever it is, the government and local and state authorities are aware of the potential threat, but have made absolutely zero public announcements about it.
Yeah.
That tells me that whatever it may be, it's pretty serious.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, they would make an announcement. They usually do.
Absolutely. Let's go on to Michael, then we'll call on Rick next. Did you see Rick popped in, Mike?
I just asked Rick to join us in the back.
Oh, excellent. Let's go on to Michael first. Go ahead, Michael. Portano.
How's it going, Thomas?
Good to see you. Puntorno, sorry.
Puntorno, yeah. I just wanted to make one point. Suppose these drones are both China and us. Now, if these drones are going on to military base and they're ours, why would they be going on to our military base? We have such high security that, we can't let anything in or out, when it comes to some kind of weapons, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, bringing out my book of bingo cards, doing a cross lookup of this, I could say that potentially the only reason they would be going over our military bases, if it was from us, would be to go ahead and throw citizens off who are observing this. So if they are from us and they're going over their bases, again, they're doing it to say, why is it going everywhere except over our bases? What are these things? Oh, it must be ours. But if they're going over the bases and the restricted airspace, then there's less dots to connect. Does that make sense, Michael, potentially?
It does make sense, but the reason why I'm saying both, it could be China and it could be us checking them out while China is checking out our military bases. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Again, until we get answers from the government, we're playing bingo right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, Michael, and thanks for calling in. Thanks for joining the back for your question.
Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Rick, welcome to the back, my friend.
Thank you. I've been listening for a while, but I just couldn't get in the back for some reason. Thought you kicked me out or something.
Oh, I never kicked you out.
No. Maybe the government is trying to block you, Rick.
I think they did. But this is a fascinating story about the this Matt Livelsberger. There's a lot of information that is being shared through Signal that are enclosed, closed forums about
Mike, take it. I'll be right back. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah,
Do you have any information, Rick, that you've heard about Livelsberger that you care to share?
Well, the FBI has interviewed, him, the FBI and the U.S. Army Criminal Investigations Division, which is the
CID,
like the FBI within the Army, CID. They interviewed almost all his supervisors, his commander, his squad leader, and platoon leader. And they come back with the surprise that he was doing this or was involved in something like this. But there's a document other than this manifesto. There's another document that the FBI found. I believe his ex-wife gave it to the FBI or CID. I'm not sure which. That hasn't circulated yet. In the internet, but it was a letter explaining some things to the ex-wife, and I'm not gonna say anything more until it's released because I'm not sure the FBI is going to release it or when they do, let them get the glory for it. But it explains some things, and I think the biggest red herring is the war crimes that he's talking about that occurred in Afghanistan when U.S. forces bombed those areas, killing literally hundreds and hundreds of civilians. There is some proof of that in the United Nations because the United Nations did a report on those incidents back in 2019, and you can get that. You can go on the United Nations site. It takes a little bit of time to find it, but there's all sorts of documents pertaining to the war crimes allegedly happened inside Afghanistan that Livelsberger is talking about. And the connection, is there a connection between Bourbon Street and this guy? I don't know. I mean, just because they both were in the Army, although the man from Bourbon Street he'd been out of the Army for a while. He was in the Army Reserves for a short period of time. But it's just fascinating whether this is connected or not. And now there's a rumor, I just saw this on the internet, I think somebody mentioned it, that the coroner is not sure that the description, of course, the body's burnt inside his Tesla, but whether this is in fact the same person. And I don't know if this is just some kind of prank somebody put on Twitter, but that was posted. I believe they found his ID card too. So anyways, that's what I know about it right now.
Well, they'll be doing DNA testing on that during the autopsy. So we'll get confirmation one way or the other. Well, my question to you is, you mentioned that it was a potential red herring with Afghanistan. What makes you say that, Rick?
Well, the fact that he mentioned this in this manifesto that was presented on Sean Ryan, and the fact that the United Nations investigated it, that's interesting. Nobody was ever charged. The United States, the United Nations didn't accuse anybody of this, but obviously U.S. forces, if this in fact happened, which we're pretty sure it did, the United Nations, it would have been the United States that was responsible for that, and then him mentioning that in this document. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Interesting enough, talking about the person and their manifesto and everything, I do have a video clip of coming to us, I believe, from local investigators or the police talking about the email that's there. We'll get to you in 1 second. Now, let me go ahead and play this first, and then I'll call on you next. Here we go. Let's play this clip.
We're very well aware of a podcast that is going around today and the contents of the letter in that podcast. And I just want you to understand that since we've been conducting these press conferences, I have only given you information that we have verified and deemed to be factually accurate. We've been aware of that document for a while now, and we still have not completely gone all the way through that and verified that entirely. We're very well aware of a podcast.
There we go. Ed Brown, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, once again, Thomas, I've been listening over the last few minutes, and Mike once again hit the nail on the head with an important point I want to take us back to just for a second. That is, when there is a threat out there, the government generally will tell us what it is unless it's really bad. I'm kind of paraphrasing what he said. Because it was, a 3 weeks ago that Christopher Wray was saying the threat in the country has been higher than it's been for a long time. Not any specifics, but that we were under a lot of danger. So it looks like now this, whatever this is now exceeding that.
Yeah.
And unlike all the wars we've been in the past, it's really hard to discern who are the good guys and who are the bad guys.
Especially because it looks like what we've got going on, it's the what do they call it? The enemy within?
And the deep state, or whatever words you want to use. But it looks like it's a point where you're not sure whether, when you hear the press secretary or a writer over at the Pentagon say anything, you're just not sure anymore whether they're telling you the truth or not.
Yeah.
You just can't trust the stuff that's coming out of those press briefings. So I guess just people need to stay tuned to Disclosure tonight, because that's where we get all the news.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Ed. We do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you for the support. You know what I found interesting? Why was this spokesman for the FBI stammering? Because
I don't think he was a spokesperson for the FBI. I think he honestly, let me bring it up here again, looks like a officer of the Vegas State Police. You don't see FBI wearing...
He's a sheriff. He's a sheriff. Clark County Sheriff. He's also has a second hat of
Clark County Sheriff.
Las Vegas Metropolitan Police chief too. Yeah, that's who he is.
Yeah,
he's the top cop.
Well, Greg in the back saying he's Las Vegas Police Department. Makes sense.
Yeah, but he's the top cop in that area, so he's made public statements before. He shouldn't really be stammering. That's my point.
Wow.
He may be rattled, and the question is, what isn't he saying that's making him so rattled?
It seems like it's one hell of a situation going on, Mike.
That's what it seems like. That's my point.
Yeah. Brian Pemble, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, just that clip, eventually that sheriff calls over the FBI agent, and so you get the suit that comes in. So I don't know if they cut the clip down or edited it, and so we can't get it anymore, but the FBI agent comes in and verifies 100%.
Oh my God! But the FBI agents we have are clear. At least the ones we've been seeing out of Vegas. 3 letters to explain them: DEI.
Yeah. Well, no, this guy's actually, he's just a white old American. But it's interesting the fact that the FBI
I don't see him as a white. Let me bring him up. I don't see him as a white old American. I see him as a seasoned law officer coming out and telling us where stuff's going on, and not just feeding us a bunch of inconsequential bullshit.
Yeah. No, but there's another one that comes up there after him. He calls the FBI agent in, and the FBI agent walks to the camera. For some reason, I don't know if they're cutting the video down or not. But
this is from UAP James. If you have a link to the full video, send it across. I'll play it.
I do not have it offhand, but it is really interesting because the FBI agent comes in and says, that it's all his. And it just makes me wonder, the FBI is quick to jump on some things and slow to jump on other things. Obviously, they want certain information out and certain information not. But it's a really interesting clip, and it kind of makes you think twice about this. There's a few things that are raising my spidey senses here.
And we still haven't gotten to the good part yet about this whistleblower whose inside information we have to bring forward. And we will, well, let's get to this next piece on this one, Brian. I appreciate you coming out on this. Patrick, well, Mr. Fogarty, you had your hand up in the back. Have you disappeared? Do you want to have your not hand?
Put it down. I know you wanted to move on. If you guys want.
No. Well, last thing, go ahead, my friend. No. We got time. I'm just trying to give a little teaser for the information that's on the title card we haven't covered yet. I'm sorry. This one is so freaking deep and extensive.
Okay. So I'm going to touch on a few things with the Sean Ryan email that was received, and then we're going to touch on a few things that the alleged bomb maker said, so on. He had made direct mention that there was an improvised explosive device in the bed of the truck that he was going to utilize in the event that he was caught. That was mentioned in this unconfirmed letter that Sean Ryan has. From inside source, hearing talk amongst others, this guy knew a lot of stuff. He was a drone builder and operator for the U.S. government. He knew about new technology that's yet to be implemented that they're currently working and programming. This guy knew a lot of things. And he had rented this vehicle. I don't think it had anything to do with what happened in New Orleans, because the idea was that this guy was going to be a whistleblower. And part of the letter that the Sean Ryan thing was he was going to do that. He needed to escape the United States to be able to accomplish these things. The belief is when you see the Cybertruck in Vegas earlier in the morning, you can see that he is driving. You can zoom in on security footage. You can see that. In later optics, when the Cybertruck pulls up, it is driving almost as if it's an FSD. If you're familiar with Tesla, it's full self-driving.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So if you were to, let's say, find an asset became a liability, they happen to have a vehicle with FSD, it's very easy to put a bullet in their head and then program the car to stop.
Right, but no, FSD only goes for so long. You have to keep your hands on the wheel unless they went and zip tied his hands on the wheel.
Yeah, that would be kind of why it would be kind of weird with the way things looked in the following security videos where the different in the driver.
Teslas do have a recording of the driver within the vehicle that Elon should have access to, and they should be able to bring out if the government the current administration allows that truth.
Anything about it? We've heard about Elon unlocked the vehicle for the Metropolitan Police Department of Las Vegas. He did that remotely, but directly when he
Which
saw
means
this,
they have access to the video. That if he can unlock the vehicle remotely, he has access to the videos.
Exactly. All we want to see is if they want to put that conspiracy to bed, show me 2 seconds before he put the vehicle in a park when it was pulling into Vegas, and then the afterwards. I don't need to see him do the dirty work, as they say, but at the same time, I think that this was a wet works incident. I don't think this was a dirty works incident. If anyone's following what these terms mean, I think that he was an operative within something, and he did not expect the outcome of what happened the other day. But he was well aware of the bomb. He just didn't know that it was going to be. He was the rube of the situation. Yeah. He was a team of 8 with a sports team, and he was told that there was a separate directive when, unbeknownst to him, to fulfill the obligation of a narrative, he needed to be the patsy, and he never was going to complete what he thought he was going to in the Sean Ryan letter. That was never going to happen. The people that did this knew well beforehand this was how it was going to end, because there was a narrative and a message that needed to be broadcast. Correct. So I'll shut up now.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts, my friend. You always have great insight on stuff, and whether you want to get in trouble or not, don't forget those. Three MRI machines you had purchased?
You like to get, if I didn't shoot myself in the foot tonight, Thomas. No. The MRI machines didn't get me in too much trouble. It was me talking about what I did with them. So.
Oh, you're just trying to make your own little particle accelerator. That's all. Your little mini CERN to go ahead and open up another dimension to call the aliens through.
A linear particle accelerator, but yes.
Yeah. It's not like you've got a 14-mile track to put them through. My God.
Come on. It's not that long. No, I just shoot it at my neighbor's house.
Oh, they deserve it. My God, I could use one of those around here. How much do they cost a piece? $900?
Used. You can get an MRI machine pretty much free if you're getting it. Usually what it comes down to is you have to disassemble it, you have to transport it. These things weigh, depending on the model, tens of thousands of pounds because they have massive magnets inside that sit on like a rail and they spin. So you got to know how to take
Oh, yeah. I've been in them more than enough times.
They're fun to play with.
Oh, yeah, they got to be. Thank you very much. Daryl Zernick, your hand is up, my friend.
Yeah, just real quick. So I didn't know that for FSD to work that you had to have your hands on the steering wheel, which means, like you said, unless he shot himself with a 50 caliber gun and then kept his hands on the wheels and then somehow started the fireworks show, that seems kind of odd.
And supposedly when the big boom went off, after the big boom went off, and there were all these other things that kind of spilled out of it all over the place and kind of went across, looked like fireworks. Apparently that was a lithium battery going ahead and declaring its celebration day.
It did not dent the floor bed of the truck. That's an interesting part about that.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So, but the whole gun thing, a lot of people that are gun experts are saying in that video, you would have heard and seen, you would have seen a flash, you would have heard a noise on a 50 caliber handgun, and you don't see that. Something
Rainstorm Hunter says no muzzle flash.
Yeah, the muzzle flash on 50 cal is huge.
Yeah,
you can't hide that.
And there wasn't a boom before the boom, wasn't there? Where's the earth-shattering kaboom? You know? There's the big earth-shattering kaboom, but there should have been a small kaboom before the big kaboom. Sorry, I love doing Marvin the Martian. It's been a while.
There you go.
Greg O'Brien, our doubter-in-chief.
Thomas, as far as the gentleman having to have his hands on the wheel, can't they literally hail one? Like if it's a couple blocks away, can't you press a button and it come to you? So would you have to? You wouldn't have to necessarily have your hands on the wheel at that point, would you? I mean,
well, no, it's not like there's someone at the Trump Towers. This thing wasn't parked there, and they brought it in from being parked. It literally drove in off the street, got in front of the Trump Towers, and kablooey.
Right, like somebody could have held it though from blocks away. Though,
like you're holding that joint in your finger. Yes, exactly.
All right, man. Peace.
Pass it over here, my friend. Stop being a Bogart. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Getting into it. Oh, we've got another super chat that just came in. Second one of the New Year's. Phase Will says, you are amazing. Thank you very much. No, Will, you are amazing, my friend. We miss you in the back. Hopefully your move to Redwood City and everything's going right. We miss you. Love you, my friend. On that note, I think, Mike, this is the time we have to get to that big breaking story of UFO news, my friend.
Well, after an hour and 45 minutes on the first story, I think we're long overdue at this point.
Oh, I know. What am I talking about? Well, if I bring it up, that is a headline. New UFO whistleblower leaked. Well, it's been leaked. It's been spreading on the back halls of Twitter, right, Mike?
It has.
However, if it's been leaked to the back halls of Twitter and people are sharing this little information between all the different people, and thank you very much, Brian Pebble, for that super chat as well. Wow. Thank you very much. You know, if this is being leaked on UFO Twitter and people are sharing this around, let's just say the deep state already knows what the fuck is going on, right? Meaning the people who are in charge of the cover-up.
Oh, yeah, they do. Without a doubt. But not publicly.
Not publicly, but you know what? We talked about this, and I said, Mike, we've heard the rumors. You've heard it. I've heard it. Should we bring it out? And I'm like, you know, we're a news agency. We bring out Disclosure tonight. We cover the stuff's going on. Should we just let the cover-up continue like Ross Coulthart, not bring out the facts? Or should we do the duty and bring it out? Because if these people on the back halls of Twitter are bringing out the truth, the deep state already knows what's going on, and the only people who are keeping the truth from are the actual people who are interested in this stuff.
The general public and our audience.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Now, supposedly, if I get this right, get me wrong. God, what was his role? James Clapper? Well, he used to be CIA.
He was the Director of National Intelligence. And a retired Lieutenant General in the U.S. Air Force.
Oh, you mean like, oh God, former ODNI James Ratcliffe, who knew exactly what this CIA and was going on with, and the cover-up of the non-human intelligence. James Ratcliffe knew everything as ODNI, didn't he?
He was also director of the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wore many hats and had a lot of various experience deep within the government, high up at the top.
So we've got
a lot of information.
So we've got James Clapper,
right?
Former Director of National Intelligence and other roles, going out and getting ready to go ahead and drop the truth bomb on the government cover-up of UFOs. Correct?
Correct. Yes, sir. And if he's to come forward with his knowledge and experience in his roles in government at that level, at the executive level, C level, he pretty much had access to just about everything.
Which we've got about 17 more days at least until he'll bring out the truth, because if he tries to bring out the truth before the Trump administration gets in, there's a good chance he's going to be squished down. But hopefully after the 20th, maybe before, but I'm probably thinking it's going to happen after, right?
Well, logically, you would have to think that it would happen after the inauguration on January 20th, because he'd be facing some serious legal liabilities if it happened prior to that.
Yeah, but they'll start the liabilities and all the stuff from the DOJ or whatever it would have to be, but eventually it's going to get thrown out. But don't forget, isn't James Clapper part of those 51 former intelligence agents who said the Hunter Biden laptop was not real?
Yes, he was.
So could this be a last-ditch attempt to bring out the truth to save his security clearance?
I don't know what his personal motivation would be, but I could tell you that in the way and manner that he might be coming forward, it's risky at best, not going through proper channels. There's always a desperate act. So what his true motivation?
But didn't we have about 6 months ago, Tim Phillips basically came out and said, we can't trust any of the whistleblowers because any of the whistleblowers who are coming forward, especially to ARO, are in violation of their initial NDAs?
Yes, he did. And people were thinking that Tim Phillips, after Sean Kirkpatrick had left, would be a breath of fresh air, but in fact, it turned out to be the opposite.
No, not even close to it, because the truth of the matter is, all they're doing is rearranging the deck chairs on the USS RO, aka Titanic. And why am I saying this? Because the leadership, the people who are behind RO, the people who tell people like Tim Phillips, Sean Kirkpatrick, John Kozlowski to do what they're doing, those people didn't change. These people are just the mouthpiece for RO, right?
Like Admiral John Kirby is
a mouthpiece for the White House.
Right.
They're going to say what they're told to say and not a thing more.
As they've been doing the entire time.
Yeah.
And we've been covering it and calling them out on their cover-up and bullshit that they're feeding the American public.
Yeah.
And us. But, yeah. So that's true. You're right.
Yeah.
But this potentially, if it goes according to plan and he comes forward, then this could be very interesting for how 2025 is going to be moving forward after this.
Well, if we have we have a former ODNI coming forward, which is James Clapper, but we've got a more recent former ODNI, James Ratcliffe, who wanted to bring out the truth, but they said they didn't have the time of the last Trump administration, who's now the head of the CIA. I can't wait to see what Ratcliffe is going to say. He may have even more salacious truth to bring forward about the cover-up. And he's going to be a little bit, he'll actually be able to talk about the bullshit that's been going on in the CIA, the Office of Global Access, and the gatekeepers that kept the UFO crash materials being transferred from Lockheed Martin to Bigelow Aerospace under OSAP, right?
Yeah, that's correct. You're absolutely right. Yeah. That's a very interesting aspect to this. And if he is, well, see, when he becomes the head of the CIA, the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, has to read him in to those USAT programs that involve the legacy UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering. So that he's going to.
But when he was ODNI, he should have been read in then as well, right? No, but with the things that were going on within the CIA, that's within the CIA, and he should have full access to all that information without anything having to come from the DOD.
Yeah, that's correct, because he's going to be, well, DOD, and Rick, you can correct me if I'm on this. DOD is Title 10, and CIA is under Title 50. So the access to information that he potentially will get coming into office could be a lot different than what he had prior out of DOD. So he's going to get a majority of the things that everybody has been looking for from the public. And if he comes out and brings it forward, if the new president-elect decides to declassify that information, once he gets full access to it, then this is something that everybody has been looking to see come out publicly for many decades now.
Yeah.
It's a big step forward if it happens.
Before I call on Rick Doty, does mutually assured destruction MAD exist if the general public does not know about the weaponry? I personally do not think so, hence the whistleblowers. You know what? We're going to need whistleblowers to come forward no matter what, because it's been a deep state cover-up. Rick, what are your thoughts on this bigger situation we're dealing with?
Well, getting back to James Clapper, I know him. I've met him. And if you want to connect the Advanced Working Group with him, go ahead. Michael Hayden, who was director of financial intelligence back in the 90s, they're all well aware of the program that involves UAPs and UFOs. I'm not going to get in trouble for saying that, but I'm interested to see what General Clapper, he's a retired Air Force Lieutenant General, and he worked during his time in the Air Force, he worked in satellite systems, security services, and when he got out of the Air Force, he worked for Geosat, which was a private satellite contractor, which has a lot of, well, I should say a lot. I think every single thing they did was considered an SAP program. So he knows. And then John Ratcliffe, who I know very well, I had a dinner with him about 6 months ago when I was in Washington. Well, in May, so a little over 6 months. He is well aware, and he'd been briefed into the program. But Michael's right that he will have to be updated because he's been out for a while. He left and after Trump lost. And so he would have to be updated in the program. He didn't get any more briefings after he left. And so it's going to be interesting to see how he reacts to what he knows and how much information that he's going to be able to force released, as it's called, with coordination with, and Mike's right about DOD, because DOD has, I think, the primary role in this, DIA. But, you know, they operate together. And so I don't think it's going to be difficult to get information out, but it's just going to be dependent on what information that they can give out and will it satisfy the public.
Absolutely. Your thoughts, Mike?
Rick, one of the interesting aspects of this about James Clapper potentially coming forward is that he's not going to be doing it through regular channels. He's not going through DOPSR. He's not going to be cleared to speak publicly. And he is, it looks like if he does come forward that he's planning on doing that without those clearances, which would then subject him to some pretty serious legal liabilities. And I understand there are parties involved behind the scenes that are trying to deal with those potential liabilities if in fact he does come out publicly. So that only makes this that much more interesting. What is your opinion, Rick, as far as if he does come out publicly, what do you think he would bring out that he feels the public has a right to know? Would it entail any type of direct evidence, or would it just be what his knowledge on the subject would be, in your opinion, Rick?
I think it would be his knowledge of the program, what we have, and I think he probably will talk about what we know about some advanced technologies that could be threatening to Earth, and I know he would be. I don't know how he's going to do that, because, like you said, if he and most of that is all highly classified, and at least what I know about it, and of course I've been on a long time, but I think he's going to have to tread very carefully on what he says and how he says it, in whatever venue he uses to release information.
Well, don't forget, if you want to call it, James Ratcliffe, Rick, said a bunch of salacious things about disclosure and the cover-up that was going on when he was still ODNI before the transfer of power happened on January 20th, back 40 years ago. And if that's the case, he never got in trouble for anything that he said then. So whatever's coming forth from Clapper has got to be a little bit more salacious than what we've heard coming from James Ratcliffe in the past.
Well, I can assure you that James Clapper would know the information, and he's a very smart person, and he'll be very articulate and very tactical in his release of whatever he wants to talk about. But yeah, he's a pretty smart guy.
And I'm surprised we didn't get John Brennan, because we saw different quotes of John Brennan talking about the non-human intelligence. And he had just had his head down, his hand on his head, a very somber conversation with regards to what he knew when he talked about it, Rick.
Yeah, and John Brennan, very strange character. He one time a devout communist, is in the Islam faith.
Brennan, really?
He has said things. Yeah, Brennan is, and he also he made some contacts with. I don't want to go into too many details, but he made some unauthorized contacts with we would consider it the enemy, and then he lost his security clearance. So John Brennan doesn't have a security clearance. Everyone who retires from the intelligence community keeps their clearance in some manner or another, but John Brennan lost his security clearance.
I did not know that. Interesting, to say the least. Thank you, Rick. Buster Larson, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. I just want to share some. I just have some pictures.
Just let's go ahead and keep it to conversation at this point. Don't share at this point.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay, my friend.
All right, but I just wanted to know where to send it to, actually.
Thomas at disclosuretonight.com.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll just send it to you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You just got to be careful on what people will go ahead and bring up on the podcast. You're unvetted. We don't know exactly who you are. So, but yeah, Thomas at disclosuretonight.com. Be happy to take a look at it. And then come back and we'll bring them up and go over it, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Wow, Mike, who would have thought the information about Brennan would have come out? But as soon as I heard it, and I know a bunch of people were trying to keep it quiet, you know, the only people we're keeping it quiet from is the general public, right?
Which is how it usually works, Thomas. You and I are well aware of that. So, yeah, at this point, and this is supposed to take place on or about the second week of January. So we'll know soon enough what exactly it is that's going to come out.
Hopefully he may have some good lawyers to help him figure this kind of stuff out. But, you know, it takes someone with some oomph behind them to go ahead and talk about and bring out the truth. And hopefully there's some good things in there to bring it to that level. It's been too long.
You're absolutely right. No, it's been decades, and the fight is still ongoing. It's far from over with. But Rick, I have a question. You had dinner with Clapper recently. In your opinion, based on your knowledge of him, somebody of that level, because he's definitely executive level, and well aware of the government and how it operates, why do you think he wouldn't go through normal channels and would look to break out publicly against how it should be normally done by anybody? Any other whistleblower that's come forward so far, like David Grush, have gone through proper channels and then came out publicly? Why do you think he would be rushed to do it in this type of a manner so quickly? And B, what is it that you think that he would know that he would feel is so important that he would have to face very serious legal liability, including being charged under the Espionage Act, and face that type of liability to bring this information out publicly at this time so soon? Now, you know him, which is why I'm asking you your opinion. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry if I confused you. I had dinner with John Ratcliffe, not James Clapper, in May.
I thought you said you knew Clapper.
I knew Clapper. I know Clapper. Yes.
Okay.
And
the question still applies.
I've had contact with him. Yeah. I've had contact with him. Let's say that I'm in an advanced working group, and most of the former directors of intelligence in that same group. So I've had conversations, shared email streams. I've commented. I've been at meetings where he was in the room. So I know him in that manner. There are several people, former directors, that are very, very concerned about the subject of UFOs, UFOs, and what we, the United States government, has hidden from the American people. And I think it comes to a point in some of these people's lives, and I probably could relate to some of this, is that so much is built up, and there's so much baloney out there on the social media, in the press, that steers people away from certain areas of the subject. And what I believe, and this is my own personal belief regarding Clapper, he's going to bring everything back into light, so to speak, and talk about things that are upsetting to him and that would be obviously upsetting to the American people. That's my belief and why he's doing it. And then again, it's only my belief. He's never said this to me or anything like that. It's just my belief, knowing something about him.
Interesting that he would be doing that at great personal risk to do it in that manner. So if he feels that it's that important for him to take that risk and expose himself to some very serious legal liabilities and consequences for those actions, and he's planning on doing it anyway, it's got to be pretty damn important, I think, Rick. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. And there was a news conference a long time ago. I remember it. It was back when he was CIA director. DIA director. He he made a statement about something, and then somebody asked him to expound on what he said. And he started to, and he looked around, he put his head down and said, I want to talk about that. I want to answer that question, but I can't. And then he walked away from the podium. So, and that was, 15 or 20, I don't know. It was a long time ago, but I remember that. I think at that point, although I don't know, but I kind of reasoned at that point, he was going to say something about the subject. And then he decided, no, better not. And like you said, he could be tried under, Title 18 U.S. Code 797 Espionage Act, and I mean, he could be if he discloses information that is an SAP and all this stuff that he knows would be SAP or SCI, Sensitive Compartmented Information. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do, and I think it's built up so much that I think he just feels like, what has he got to lose? He's like 80 some years old and he's up there in age, or are they going to prosecute him? I don't know.
Probably not. That might be one of the other reasons why he's deciding to come forward.
But also, Mike, James Clapper's not the youngest guy, coming from an older guy myself. Just saying. But Clapper could have some kind of a health thing coming like Harry Reid had that could make him want to go ahead and bring out the truth, because that seems to be a common trait.
Yeah, they get that mindset that I'm going to die anyway at one point. So what are you going to do? Kill me? They seem to not give a shit anymore.
And I think
at that point,
you've got a bunch of documents from Clifford Stone, who dropped a lot of information before he was taken, right, Rick?
Yeah, I do. I do, and I've been sorting through this all these documents that I have.
Do you have an automatic scanner you can drop stuff into to create PDFs out of it?
No.
Let's talk about that. They're not that expensive. Let's figure out how to get you something like that, because if you have a bunch of documents, I've got a bunch of documents in my garage and multiple filing cabinets I need to go ahead and digitize eventually. And I've got a scanner upstairs, but if we can figure out how to get you one of those to get that kind of stuff into a way that makes it easier to deal with digitally. And then, but cool part is once you turn them into, we'll figure it out, once you turn them into a document, you could also make them fully searchable from your PC and just being able to search for keywords. It makes it real easy to find cool stuff.
It's
send me a link to one.
Let's jump on a call and we'll work on it proactively.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. I like automating stuff, figure out the workflow, what you have to do to get it there, and then just let it, something that's relatively easy, go ahead and let it fly. But then you have to be able to say, okay, I've got all these documents and all the shit's there. That's when you can bring in multiple people to go ahead and task them with the ability to go ahead and look at some of the stuff and find the details and open up Clifford's files on some of that stuff. Boy, that could be a huge boon to Disclosure, Rick.
Okay, I'll work on it.
Thank you. Let's plan it out and see if we can team up on some of this. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get on a call. And,
exactly. Okay. If we can. Patrick Fogarty, you have your hand up, my friend?
Yes, thank you, Thomas and Rick. I just wanted to touch on something where you had mentioned about SCI. One of the reasons that we might be seeing this, it's more of a psychological thing than anything else. With the advanced age of this witness, with his information as specialized compartmental information, if he had ever gone into a skiff, one of the things about a skiff is it's kind of like Fight Club. Depending on what the skiff was, the purview of the information, you might not even be able to admit that you had gone into an information seminar to which now you cannot speak of which the information was given. When you're facing this late of your life, when you have a health threat, the last thing you want to do is get caught up in DOPSR. That locked Lou's book up for 3 years. It locked James Fox movie up for, I think he said, an additional 6 months with some of the stuff. So if that is the truth, that would add a lot of credulence to what we're seeing here. If you want to add credibility to your claim, the first thing that you would do is if you had a level of clearance that you're not going to necessitate in the grave. I mean, it doesn't matter how high a level of clearance you have, and you get in front of St. Peter's, he doesn't care. So if you're on your way out and you want to add credibility to the information that you have, you show that the government is now taking away your right and your ability to make claim of that information. Then you basically bypass the DOPSR program, and what you've said is got fairly well vetted to whatever audience is going to be listening to you. So there is a psychological component to it where he frankly doesn't care anymore. When you're getting that far into your career, there's no profit to be made for yourself. And if you're truly serving the American people, he's doing the most patriotic thing he can do. I know that Lou has a lot of disagreements to the handling of specific information. As an American, I'm glad that Lou and I can disagree on how things are done. As someone that has at one point been able to speak with people of the likes of Edward Snowden, I can tell you that these people did things out of the greatness of what patriotism is. And while the execution may not have been the absolute best, the reason that they had to do it a lot of times was the temporal aspect of if they didn't move, they would be stopped. So I can't blame someone for risking losing their clearances in the event that they are trying to gain the credibility of that specific identifying information component. That's a huge thing. When you lose your clearances, it's not. I couldn't. It's dehumanizing. It's demoralizing. It basically takes your entire career and everything that you've held special and throws it away. So there's certain things that you'll protect as tight as your religion. And one of them is the deep belief of your patriotism and the secrets that you would hold. So if him releasing these secrets is a matter of patriotism, I understand that. I get that. And I think that we should let time show us what truths he has to tell.
Great points, Patrick.
Okay. Patrick, yeah, great.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Last person with their hand up, Kron. But before I get to you, Kron, really quick, I want to bring this up. I put a headline out here. What about the fog? It's fog. When it's been cold for a period of time and it gets warmer, both the ground and bodies of water will create fog. And what's been happening, we've been having a bigger swing going. That's right, Mocha, in temperatures. And because you're getting that huge swing in temperatures going at this point in time, it's creating fog. It's nothing new. Unless you've been like stuck looking at your phone for many years and never realized there's something going on outside like a lot of our more current generations. Yes, Mocha. Oh, you've learned, huh? You want a cookie? Should I give her a cookie? Yeah, I will. Kron, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just have kind of a hypothetical question towards Rick and two others in the military community. My question is really simple. If the Earth was in danger, would you break your oath? Would you give it up for the Earth if you knew the Earth only had a month left, maybe a week?
Well, supposedly, let's go older than Noah. Let's talk about the story of Gilgamesh. Or before that. Yes, there have been times that humanity, plus there was also, what was it, the tale of Sodom and Gomorrah, where there was an astronomical object came in, sliced through the atmosphere. I believe it like took off the top of a mountain in Switzerland, which then went high into the atmosphere and rained down like a husky, going ahead and going ahead and disintegrating the people in that part of the country. I mean, they found the cities, they found the wrecks of the buildings where there have been like thousands or tens of thousands of graves around it. Wow. This is new behavior from Mocha. Does that make sense, Kron?
Yes, but I'm speaking more in the terms of like, if you knew that there was danger, immediate danger.
Yeah. And they did that. They have done that in the past. There's Noah, which is also the book of Enoch. Well, there was was it the Tale of Enoch, whatever? Not the Yeah, it's been told in the audiences out there. It's been told in many times in ancient texts of these particular great events happening where they've been warned about what's coming, right?
Correct. But I'm saying giving up your clearance if you knew.
You mean if our government knew about this?
That's what I'm asking on an individual.
If our government knew about it, would you be surprised that they hid it from us? Saying, hey, guess what? The world's going to end in 200 years, because they knew the closer they got to that deadline, the more lawlessness they would come into place, because the people would say, what the fuck, who cares? The world's going to end anyway. Woohoo! Let's have some fun, right?
Correct. But okay, so let me dive deeper into the question.
There's the Adam and Eve story that was censored by the CIA a long time ago, and when it was re-released, there were actually parts of it that were cut out. That was by Chan Thomas, and it talks about a repeat cyclical, if you want to call it, disaster event that happens to the world on a regular basis. Don't forget, we had stuff that was brought forward to the House of Representatives. I don't think it went any place, where someone was proposing a cataclysm bill. So, what are we going to do in case this stuff happens? Let's take this, charge it with the president's, with the executive branch, make them have an office that's constantly looking out for these different things, and have a plan in place if something's going to happen. Because, well, look at the history of the earth. It happens.
To be more specific, I'm saying if you knew an alien invasion would happen in a year, would you tell the American people, would you keep your clearance up until that time? That's to be quite clear.
Oh, let's see. What would they do? They would ignore it. They would let the time come up to the point of being expired before they even planned about doing anything. And then we would probably see signs from the non-human intelligence of an increased amount of their activity in the skies and everything, because our government blew past the deadlines, and whether we like it or not, they're moving ahead on schedule. What would you see, Kron? I'd love to hear your insight on that.
I feel like there's two sides. I feel empathy towards government employees because they're trying to keep the country safe, right? There's a lot of people that just want to keep their country.
The current world order, you mean?
Yeah. And then the other side is, people of Earth need to know the truth. They need to know what's coming. They need to prepare. They need to kiss their mom, kiss their dog, kiss their children. Right. So at what time does the line get drawn is what I'm trying to get at. That's the question that I was proposing towards Rick. It's like, when does the line get drawn? Right. When you know this information, things are coming, things are vast and great and powerful. When do you draw the line? When do you take care of your people compared to your country?
Rick?
Well, I guess it would depend on the situation. If it's it's harder for me to answer. If you think if you're talking about the world ending, and I was the savior of the world, of course I would tell everyone what I needed to know. But there would be others in a position to do more or say more or do more than I could. I mean, I left government service in 1988, other than the government clearance I had during the time I worked for Dr. Putoff for 12 years. But if somebody asked me and it would help us defend Earth, I would probably do it or say it.
Yeah.
Great answer. Thank you, Rick. It's a hypothetical. We are people. We love our country. We love the government. We love many things, but it's a line. And I'm not saying that we're close to the line. But
oh my God, you bring up something here really quick, Kron. I know we're so far into this, but I hate to go ahead and jump into the conversation on this one. Not Rick. Mike, I guess we could talk about this tomorrow, but give a little hint of it right now. But there was maybe we should save it for tomorrow. It gives us something to talk about. Let's give people a preview of it, possibly. There was some interesting messages on Twitter from Lou Elizondo's former attorney. Yes. Going ahead and in an eloquent piece of language, he basically restated what I've been saying for a long time here. The non-human intelligence is so alien to what humanity is. You cannot take any human thoughts, patterns, traits, feelings, beliefs, or whatever it is to say they're good or they're bad and put it up there and say, this is what we're dealing with. No. This stuff is so alien, so shocking, so different than what anything in humanity is, that we'd be a fool to go ahead and give them the shadow of a doubt at all based on what humanity is, or for that matter, any life on this planet.
Yeah, exactly. Can't humanize it and put it into the perspective that we have. Because it doesn't necessarily apply,
right,
on many levels and fronts.
Yeah,
and most people, I don't believe, are aware of that.
No, it sounds like he's ran into people who felt with some of the different stuff, and they've enlightened him like they enlightened me a while ago.
Right, I would agree.
I'll get myself in trouble for this one. The Greer Kool-Aid only goes so far. One dealing with the reality of what's around us everywhere. So close, how close, Mike, that if people realized how much was going on around us that we couldn't see, they'd what?
Oh, if they looked up and saw what's actually up there, they would shit themselves.
Yes.
From a good friend of ours informed us of that. Very interesting piece of information.
Yeah. So I think tomorrow we've got a topic for the show. I think our audience would appreciate it. That and whatever else new is coming along, but we've got to cover this piece, and I'd love to start it now, but I think we're out of time.
We are almost a half an hour past our time for the episode.
I know.
We're in overtime right now.
We had a great audience. The average person right now has been watching the show for never mind, half an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's been an interesting conversation.
Gosh, yes.
We had a lot of
It's been a great conversation, Mike.
It has a lot of information that was very interesting. And we went longer than usual because of it.
Oh yeah. And I think I fixed the audio, made it better. I've looked at all the different levels, watched a bunch of YouTube shows and what I have to get set up in OBS for the different ways, and looked at the levels of all the things. Hopefully things aren't too loud. They're not too quiet. If so, just tell me and I'll try my damnedest to go ahead and get it there.
No, it's pitch perfect, Thomas, the entire time, the whole show.
But you don't hear exactly what I've got going to the audience. It's close, but the levels may be a bit different. But I've been watching the meters where they're coming to, and everything's about in click. Yeah, everyone says it sounds good.
It should be. Yeah, it sounds great.
Excellent. Is there anything else? Okay. Last call for any questions or comments coming from the audience or from the back. Audience, put your questions in all caps. Anyone in the back, raise your hand. Let's see what we've got. We don't generally do this, but since we're doing it, let's see if anyone has.
Waiting. You know what, Thomas? We have still over 1,000 members of the audience.
Yeah.
Why don't you put up a quick poll for everybody?
Sure, yeah.
We should ask them if they believe that, I think, and if Rick wants to add something to that,
all right,
we'll listen. But we could ask them if the NHI make themselves known. Is it something that the public would understand or be clueless about?
Okay.
To preview tomorrow's show and the topic that we'll be covering. You want to add something to that, Rick?
How about, is humanity ready for the start of public disclosure?
There you go. That's a good one.
Yes or no?
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. Let me go ahead and find the sound effect for this one. That's over here, and it's nope, not that one. There we go. There's the inevitable pulsing logo going ahead and getting us there for an answer on this one. Yeah, your audio. Are you listening to YouTube, Patrick? Or are you listening to the back? Yeah, it's different between the two. Oh yeah, the sound effects for the back on that are a bit loud. Let me go ahead and check and see what the audience is saying. Where's OBS? I lost it. Ew, God, yeah, that is really fucking loud. Sorry, audience. It's supposed to be down here. As I blew out everyone's eardrums on that one. Now, where the hell was I? Let me go ahead and bring up the poll we've got going right now. Is humanity ready for the start of public disclosure? Let me get to OBS and get back to...
Well, let me remind our audience while they're voting that Lou Elizondo came out publicly and has said that the people have the right to know and they could handle the truth. So they need to think about what Lou said when they're answering this poll.
Yeah. Hey, Google, set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay, 1 minute and 30 seconds.
As I can hear the KitchenAid mixer going off for the mashed potatoes. Could be sliced potatoes, but that's neither here nor there. To go along with the ham that's coming out of the oven. You know, if you like ham and you can eat ham, not everybody can. They're like on sale of like 50% off, and the cuts will last for a couple months. So it's a deal. You always get that after New Year's. All right, with just 1 minute and 3 seconds left to go. Would you look at that? 196 votes in already. Anywhere else going to get us there? But I don't think we're going to see the numbers strategically move from yes to no, Mike.
No.
Yeah. The audience has spoken. Yeah.
Holy cow!
Yeah. There we go. Just 35 seconds left. We'll get there soon enough. But I appreciate the audience participating. Yeah, I should do more surveys, but I just have to have people ask me for a survey. Whatever happened to Rick Roberts? Rick Roberts, where the hell are you? You usually would say, hey, Thomas, how about a survey on this or that? And I would just, all right, go with it. He was my reminder. All right, who's in the back? 71. Freezer Man, ask for surveys. All right, there goes our timer on that one. Getting to it. Let's end the poll with 216 votes. Our audience has spoken. Oh, I forgot to take a damn screenshot. Damn it. We'll get to it. All right, I guess I'll have to do this and do okay and just show it small. But our audience has spoken. There we go. 217 votes in. 81% of our audience thinks we are used for it. And I've heard a bunch of people on the other side of this mic saying, no, humanity is not ready for disclosure. But I think we are, no matter what it is. All it will do, honestly, is the same thing that Ronald Reagan has talked about. It'll unite humanity. And I think that's what maybe a lot of our world governments are afraid of.
Yeah, because they wouldn't have the control that they do now. It would definitely threaten that, Thomas. You're
The thought process, the thought complex, all the stuff that goes along with it would change, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. It would be a new world order with the public united, finally, on a subject that addresses and confronts all of us.
Yeah.
It would be huge.
And nothing wrong
it
with
would
that,
be
I have
long
to say.
overdue. No.
Yeah. All right. On that note, actually, we do have two people in the back with their hands up. Brian Penn will go first, and then Alice W. to round it up.
Yeah, I think Mike made a great point. When we had the Cold War, the public all knew. When we have this Cold War, this is kind of a silent Cold War. The public does not know, and that is completely different. And so the public should be aware, because the public pushes the governments to make certain decisions, and so they need to be known. And I wonder if that's the reason why the whistleblowers are coming forward, so that the public is made aware, so that they can push their governments towards, the correct decisions. And I think that's the correct way to go. I think that's why the whistleblowers have come forward.
Well, you're right in this regard, Brian, because if you remember, when David Grush first came out publicly, the first question that was asked of him is, why are you doing this? Why are you sacrificing your career, your personal life, your everything? Why come out after the work that you've been doing now? And his response was, because the public and the world has a right to know that we are not alone on this earth. That was
exactly right, Mike.
So,
And
yeah, you're right.
I would argue a need to know. And so there was one question. I'm sorry, Thomas. I know it's late, but
Just pause for 1 second before you get to the need to know.
Yeah.
It gives us a situation, Brian, when we're looking at something along the lines of SETI. It's not about what the fuck is out there. It's about what's already here on our planet. You can look out there and you're going to be able to look at civilizations that may have done something 500,000 or 1 billion years ago. Why focus on that when we can focus on what's right here in front of our eyes?
exactly right. And just one more thing, and I'll stop you up. And do you have mutually assured destruction without public knowledge? And I think that's an important point to ponder.
Well, the question I have for that is you have to be a little bit more specific. Are you putting this up as a thought experiment? I meant like if a tree falls in the woods and people don't see it or hear it, did it fall? In a logical, technical sense, yes, the tree fell. It doesn't matter if the people hear it or not. Same thing would apply to mutually assured destruction. If nuclear weapons can destroy the planet, it doesn't matter if people know that or not. They exist, and they can destroy the planet. So that's my answer on that question.
You know, Mike, if anyone out there has watched, there's a show out there called Sticky. I think it's on Prime. Could be on Netflix, one of the two. Anyway, the tree scene, where not only does the tree fall, cut down with a frickin' chainsaw, it's hooked up to a chain and it's driven around town, and the chain is cut at the perfect time and goes smashes right into the front of the building that's been frickin' keeping the tree down, and the other people to that matter. That's what we need. We just don't need the tree to fall, Mike. We need someone to hook that tree up behind a frickin' UFO, take it, and slam it through the front doors of the White House. Make their statement.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. You're right.
Because it's been the White House that's been covering this up forever.
The executive branch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Flat out. 100%.
Mm-hmm. But if we have the possible disclosure events coming up this year, and with the new administration coming in, we might get some of that pretty quickly.
Correct.
And we'll be here to cover it and bring it out to the audience.
We're not going to be the people who say it's never going to happen. We're the ones saying, let's have a hope. Doesn't matter what side you're on, red or blue, we're all humans. And if we've got a government that's been covering it up, let's get the truth out of it, no matter what that truth is. Whether it's the truth everybody wants or it's something else, it's time.
Yeah, truth and transparency. That's why we do what we do.
And that's what I would hope that even the debunkers would be happy with. Let's just get the real answers out. Stop calling everybody names. Let's get together and celebrate whatever we're going to find out.
Yeah, stop with the drama and get to work, everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. And that's what you and I have always tried to do with everybody in the community from all sides.
Yeah.
And even people we don't necessarily agree with.
Absolutely, Mike. Wow, that is too loud as well. Cut that down nice and quiet. There we go. All right, it's that time, Mike. I want to go ahead and thank everybody for your wonderful super chats tonight. That includes Charles Kerr, ED, Brian Pemble, Jeff Monge, Brian Pemble again, FaZe Will, and Freezerman 71's going ahead and starting it off here. All right, I'll just try some mashed potatoes fell on my cables. And he got upset. It's just my cables, so it's not going to hurt anything. Yeah, on that note. Let me go ahead and just bring this to a close really quick. I want to thank everybody for coming out to this episode of Disclosure tonight. Usually I'd say go ahead and thank you. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to the audience being here. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the back. I appreciate everybody in the back for being here. I know we got some questions, but dinner is well overdue here on my side. So on that note, as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everyone, but
go back to Party City where you belong.
Yep. Good night, Mike. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Mike, want to say anything?
No, I'm just going to say good night. Everybody should join us for tomorrow's show.
Yep.
At 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Absolutely.
We'll be here.
Thank you, everybody. Y'all come back now. Here. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.